Hello. Hello. Welcome, everyone, out on Facebook and wherever else this goes. I'm TU Knapp, and I am thrilled to pieces to be hosting this Facebook Live with Dr. Michael Gross.
And to you, Nap.
Just for a minute, I had to stop and think. Oh, we're really glad that all of you are taking a few minutes to pop into our Facebook Live. Michael has an awesome message to share with everyone. But before we get started, I just want to give you a little nugget, okay? The topic today is Michael, what's living in the now, living in the moment, right?
Living in the moment.
And one of the things that I was doing, I like to begin with a quote. And this one's from Eleanor Roosevelt. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste, experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experiences. And that's what living in the moment does. When we're so worried about moving forward, we kind of forget to be right here where we are today. So for those of you who are here today, I'm really happy that you're taking the time to join us. And on that note, because I only do my little quote and give the floor to Michael, I'm going to go ahead and begin by introducing him. You ready, Michael?
I'm ready.
You have anything to add yet?
Not yet. Perfectly done.
Okay, before I get into that, for those of you who don't know, Michael is the author of The Spiritual Primer. See? Best book I've ever read. Absolutely the best. I highly recommend it. Okay? If you're looking for that missing thing in your life, chances are you're going to find the beginnings right here. Okay? And on that note, what I'm going to do is introduce Michael. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he has been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, spiritual counselor, and a teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self-empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes on spirituality, self-empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. And in concert with God, the True Source, he's also achieved great success and miraculous healings. Trust me, I've heard some of his stories, and they really are miracles that have happened, and who knows what's happening tomorrow, right? We stay in the now, though. And I'll get back on my intro. He remains humble, knowing the work he does all comes from God, the True Source. Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has just launched his nonprofit, the International Institute of Self-Empowerment. I'm really honored to be part of that nonprofit, and I am really blessed to be working with Michael Gross. So take it away, Michael.
Well, before we do, we got to talk about your book. Let's see the picture of your cover of your book. This is a fabulous book, everyone. It's going to make an excellent read. It's a true story. It's a story of a woman who left the depth of fear and doubt in her soul, came out into the light, and is going to be a huge difference in this world. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael, your book is awesome. It started my book, and together we're going to be talking about them in the future. And right now, it's your turn.
All right. Thank you very much. So, living in the moment. Kind of interesting thought, isn't it? Living in the moment. You know, our mind, as I've often said, we're always comparing the past with the present. And if we're comparing the past and the present, I use the analogy, would you like a hot fudge sundae with whipped creams, cherries, sauerkrauts, and jalapeno peppers? Like, really? And you are already thinking, well, I'd say hot fudge sundae with, fudge and whipped cream and maybe nuts and cherry if you want. And the sauerkraut, that's sour, and jalapeno, that's hot. Like, but your mind immediately went to that. And that's what I mean by living in the moment. Because we're always comparing the past with the present. And yet, if we're comparing it to the past and we're living in the past, we're denying ourselves of achieving our love and joy in the moment. Now, the future is tomorrow. Future is 10 seconds from now. technically speaking. But how are our thoughts and what are we creating? You know, what the true source said was, what you think you create, what you create, you experience. And that's so important. And when we begin to think about our lives, because we're always thinking, thinking. We're not enjoying the moment. Most persons do not know how to blank out their thoughts and just breathe and enjoy that second. Because we're always thinking about, what do we got to do tomorrow? What do we got to do next? What's next? Why isn't, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. And we're denying ourselves of the love and joy. And what we're forgetting is we have already manifested our past because you've experienced it. We're also manifesting and creating our future by the thoughts we've had and have. And yet, there's a trust issue. And that trust issue is what I'm trying to create. Notice my words, trying. And I would like you to remove from your vocabulary, because trying means you'll always try, but you'll never succeed. But let me get back to that thought. Whatever you're trying to create is not here yet, not here yet, not here yet. Well, trying means you never get to the final result, and you keep on trying. Oh, well, that's a new semantic to look at, isn't it? Well, that's not what I mean. And that's true. When you mean trying, I mean, I want it now. But you keep saying, I'm trying. And we deny ourselves of that moment in time that we have love and joy and happiness in our life, satisfaction. We have complacency. I was talking to someone about fishing. And so a lot of people, fishing is boring. And I get it. You sit on a river or a lake, you throw in a line or a boat. Well, nothing's happening. But the point is, the beautiful thing about fishing is you can be nothing. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. You don't have to worry about 5 minutes. Just enjoy the sound of the lake or the river and the birds or the breeze caressing your body. Just living in that second, that moment, that joy. And living in the moment means that every future moment, if it's joyous at this time, if it's happy at that moment, is going to be happy, and keep getting more happy and joyous. Because remember, what you think you create, what you create, you're manifesting. Your thoughts are now creating your life along with your soul. And so many people that I talk to, well, I think happy things, I have this, but this isn't happening. That's not happening. Right. The minute you tell me, the minute you express that this is not happening, that's not happening, you are now comparing the present with the past, and you're creating it in the future. We're at a very precipice in our time and our lives, more so than it has ever been on this planet. And this planet is so filled with emotions. And just look around you. There's so much hate, so much judgments. So there's the cancel culture, there's the woke culture. There's all these things going on. Everybody's opinionated. Everybody's trying to make everything right. You don't make right by telling people what to do. You make right by explaining a situation and having that person living in the moment to understand what is correct and right. It's kind of an interesting philosophy, isn't it? Like, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that, or whatever. Now we have speeding laws. You shouldn't go more than 20 or 25 in a school zone. Yeah, you're right. Got to protect the children. Yeah, you're right. But if you sat there for a moment and said, there are children that are going to go to school in a zone, what would be the right or safe thing to do? Innately, you would stop to think, I have to drive more carefully. I have to be more aware of the children. And driving carefully, I know I can't stop as quick at 50 as I can at 20 or 10. So I better be a little bit more careful. Because the human nature knows what's right and wrong. Our soul knows what's right and wrong. And living in the moment gives us a chance to listen to the thoughts of our soul. And what does the soul want for you? Well, not necessarily in this order, but it wants joy and happiness for you. It wants you to complete your mission and goal. It wants you to have a wonderful relationship with your friends, families, children, and so on and so forth. But instead, we obliterate, like that word obliterate. That's what you do. You obliterate it out of your life because you're becoming analytical, logical, and egotistical. And I was watching a short little Facebook. Woman was speeding, and she was trying to make an excuse. She was speeding to get her daughter to school on time, and she was doing 37 and a 25. And this officer was terrible, and she even called the officer a skinhead. And the officer was polite and nice as he could be. If she had left earlier and took responsibility, she could have arrived on time. Now, granted, sometimes there's an accident or maybe road construction that slows it up. That's what the radio's for, right? You listen to the traffic report. Or better yet, listen to your thoughts of your soul in that moment. Do I have enough time to get my child to school? Can I leave a few minutes later? And you will immediately know if you should leave earlier or later. You know that. But we are not taught that. What we are taught is a bunch of rules and regulations of someone else who said, this is what we need to protect society. Now, I want to point out in a way that's really, really very good, because you don't want to do 50 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone with kids. Yeah, it's a good idea. But if we listen to our soul, we know exactly what to do. That means you have to live in the moment, to feel what's going on in the moment. And there's so many people that I talk to. They're always living in the past and say, I used to be this, I used to be that, I used to be this, I used to be that. Well, that's great. What are you now? And usually those are the poor souls, POM, poor old me, that's living in the past, that has messed up, and the present looks pretty ugly, at least in their eyes. Or they're living in the future. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. That's the future. But tomorrow never comes. And what we need to do, living in the moment, is take time for each one of us individually to see the beauty within you, the unlimitedness within you, and to see what you've created. You know, I spoke of often, and I say, there's no such thing as failure. And of course, you're getting used to me saying that, but I like to reiterate it because I got to remind you. Failure, I said to everyone, meets success. Whoa, what are you saying? What you learned is what works and didn't work. That's invaluable, priceless. Because what you learned is it didn't work, so now I can try a different path. Trying another path means you may be successful, or you may have another challenge in your life and learn that didn't work, but you learned something new. But somewhere along the line, you're going to discover in that moment, I did this, I did this, I did this, it didn't work. I did this. Yes, I remember it, did it. Yes, yes, that's my solution. And that's so beautiful and wonderful. I'd like to share a little story with you. And there was a time on the farm, and when I used to live on a 40-acre farm, and we had a generator. And the generator stopped working. And I needed it because we didn't have power, because we frequently lost power. Actually, I had two generators. So I looked at the generator and said, well, it's got gas, it's got this, not running. Why isn't it running? Oh, a wire was leaning against the generator that provided the power, and it burnt and broke. Okay, no problem. Now I'm home alone. So look at the wires, and I scraped away some of the insulation, got the copper together, and I wound the copper pieces together. Well, that wasn't holding too well because it was so short. So I could only butt it like this. Now let's see, I got my soldering iron out and my solder. Let's see, how am I going to butt the two ends together, holding the soldering iron and the solder? I only got two hands. So I stopped and I said, true source, I need true source inner guidance. And I just went in the moment and just said, I don't know, it's going to come to me. Gee, look at the beautiful birds, the smell of roses. I just lived in the moment. And all of a sudden the thought came to me how to do it. And I did it. Don't ask me how I did it. I'll remember. I was able to hold the two ends together, butt them together, solder them, and then, put any tape around them. It ran perfect. So that's one of the advantages of living in the moment, is that you put out a question that you have or you need an answer to. And then you put a blinder on, or you shut off the question and enjoy the roses, the flowers, enjoy your house, whatever you have. And all of a sudden, boom, the thought comes to you. Wow, that's so easy. How come I didn't think of it? Well, Michael, you just did, but you gave up. Gave up means I stopped trying. Remember that word, trying? You never succeed. You try, you try, you try, you try. What if you were to live in the moment? I have a very good friend who is very wonderful, intuitive, and a medium. And when we talk, and we talk several times a week, her major criticism of me is, Michael, you need to discharge, meaning let go of some of the energy, and you need to relax. You need to relax. And that's a constant message. If I talk to her 5 times a week, 5 times, she says, 3 times. And you know what? She's right. We need to relax and enjoy that moment. Boy, that's so powerful. And you forgot about it. You know the expression, stop and smell the flowers? There's so much wisdom in it. And in this world of high tech, my goodness gracious, the pressures are on us unlimitedly. I remember there was a point I was on one Zoom after another Zoom. And I felt guilty if I didn't go on a Zoom because I missed something, maybe something I needed, maybe a golden nugget. And then one day I woke up and I heard the message. You don't need to be on all the Zooms. Just tune in what Zoom you need to be on. And I have to admit, we have a lot of knowledge coming on the Zooms. But I got to tell you, it takes up a lot of time. I have to tell you, a lot of people are saying the same things. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that you need to live in the moment in order for you to create and manifest the future. Is that an oxymoron? If I do nothing, something's going to happen. Well, that doesn't make sense, or does it? Remember my story about butting the 2 wires together? Remember that? In other words, there's a plethora of information going in and around and about you. And you don't trust it, but you already know the answer. And living in the moment, the answer comes out. Maybe the answer is call up to you and talk to her about this. She may have an answer. Or maybe it is to meditate, you'll have an answer. Or maybe it is to put something out with your friends. Anybody have a suggestion how to do this? Because that's kind of dangerous. You talk to 12 friends, you're going to get 12 different remedies, which is helpful, but also is like can drive you nuts. At least it does with me. And if we learn to do that, remember I said I lived on a 40-acre farm with my deceased wife. We were about 25 minutes from a gas station. We were, when I wanted to go to the hardware store, even the grocery store, 30 to 40 minutes away. You learn to prepare. And one of the things I did was make sure that we had a minimum of 100 gallons of gas on the farm and at least 25 gallons of diesel fuel because we had a tractor. But I was always prepared. And I'd sit there and get in my car and I'd look at the farm and look at the Mount Rainier, which was right in front of us, and it was gorgeous. And I had the thought, while you're at the gas station, refill the gas tanks. Oh, okay. I'd forget about it and I refill the gas tanks. But I lived in the moment and the answers came. And that's what I'm alluding to. That's what I'm talking to you about. When I started my spiritual path, I was told all answers lie within. And I go, yep, sure, right. All right, got to run now. See you later. But I suddenly discovered what wisdom. All answers do lie within. Except that we have become so codependent on the computer. I'll Google it and get my answer. Well, sometimes I Google things like, what's the weather in Vegas or things like that I'm not aware of. I'll hear it's hot, but I don't know what hot means. Except that I had talked to a friend earlier this past week. I said, how hot is it? He says, 117 degrees. Good for you. I was there last year, it was 110. So I can imagine another 70 degrees. And I said, well, how do you how do you cope with it? He goes, well, I don't go outside, stay in the house. I said, it's a great idea. But here's a crazy idea. I was talking to some people. I said, you ever hear it's hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk? I've never done that. That would be a great experiment. Can you fry an egg on a sidewalk that's 117 degrees? Now, that's really foolish, right? But that's a lot of fun because in the moment, I'm going to create a new experience and say, hey, guess what, everybody? Go look at me. What are you, nuts? Yeah, well, I had to find that out, didn't I? That's what life is about, living in the moment, finding out a whole bunch of things. And what may be trivial and insignificant to someone else is important to you. And the one thing when I have a challenge, you might say a problem. I try, cancel. Remember, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cancel. I go, I desire an answer. And then I hear, call this person or that person. Or maybe look it up. Okay. So I don't have to know everything. But what's important is to know how to find the answers. And living in the moment, you're not distracted because you don't get frustrated. Well, this is not working. That's not working. Who do I call? What do I do? And you get so frustrated, you're getting an answer, but you can't hear the answer because you're so wrapped up in emotion. Living in the moment allows your body to recharge, re-energize. Look at the energy that you're expending on your fears, your doubts, your blocks, your insecurities, and lack of self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. I was working with a woman the other day, and I said to her, what do you see in the mirror? Well, my skin is too white. I've got too much acne. My hair isn't the right color. It's a little messy. I got a little muffin top. And she went on. So how many people do you think really see all the things you're seeing? Why are you creating this moment chaos, insecurity, lack of self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem? You know what I see? I see a woman with porcelain skin. I see her with nice hair. I don't see the muffin top, and I see a nice smile. That's what I see. So if that's what I see, what do you think 99.9% of the people see? And she had to stop to think about it. She says, live in the moment and see the beauty. You are unique. You are designed. You created your design. Wait a minute, how can I create my design? I have DNA of my mom and dad. But you can change what you look and feel. In other words, you can put on weight, you can take off weight, you can be the perfect weight, whatever that means. But also, you have that ability for women to put on makeup if you so desire, although I guess some men are using makeup. I'm not sure, but I've heard that. But that doesn't make them more beautiful. What makes them more beautiful is their heart. It's how you feel about yourself. You see, living in the moment allows you to be who you truly are. And who you are truly is a wonderful, magnificent soul that is here to experience life. And all the makeup, Botox, whatever you're doing, plastic surgery, whatever you're doing, it's nothing to do with you. Has to do with your soul and your personality. Are you loving? Are you caring? Are you living in the moment? Are you seeing the joy of life? Now, I will admit sometimes I get wrapped up in the past and get a little angry. And sometimes working with my computer, it learns a new language. Gosh darn it, gee whiz, oh my goodness. Well, a little bit more than that, but we won't go into that. But I realize it's really me who's creating the problem 90% of the time. The other 10%, maybe the internet or a storm or something happened. Which says when you live in the moment, you're in harmony and balance with everything. Wait a minute. What does that mean? It means you are, quote unquote, in the flow. If you're in the flow and living in the moment, that means you will always arrive at your destination perfectly at the right time and at the right place. And that is so important. Because you see, you are manifesting whatever you so desire. And yesterday I had to be somewhere at a specific time. I got up a little earlier, got a little distracted, and left 5 minutes later than I should have. But in the moment, I just said, I know I'm going to be on time. In fact, I'll probably be early. Everything's going to go great and traffic's going to flow. And I wanted to be there. My game plan was 10 minutes early. Actually, I got 25 minutes early. Everything flowed because you see, you are manifesting in that moment. Everything's going to happen in the immediate future or far future. Have you ever thought about that? So here I am. It's usually a 45, 50-minute trip with minimal traffic, and I did it in 25 minutes. And I didn't speed because I also heard, careful, the police are out. And boy, were they pulling people over. The state police were. Me, I didn't get a ticket because I was doing the speed limit or within a mile or two of it. And that's so important because I was living in the moment. I had no expectations. Remember expectations? They can be positive or negative. Do you ever think about that? Well, I'm probably going to go to work. My boss is calling, probably angry. Blah, 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 blah. What happens? That's what happens. Or I'm going to go to work and I'm going to have a great time and just enjoy myself. And all of a sudden you get to work and you have a great time and you enjoy yourself. See, one of the things of living in the moment is there's always a solution. And I had another problem with another business I'm involved in. And I was getting a little bit tenuous saying, well, what do I need to do? I got a little exasperated. I went right in the moment. I put this thought out. I just went in the moment. And then I had to meet someone and I'm talking to them, not about the same subject. The thought came up, oh, this is the solution. Next day I talked to them. They agreed to the solution and everything went smoothly. Understand that, everyone. I'm looking at the clock. I know I've got another 3 minutes. So the moral of the story is when you live in the moment with no expectations, remember, no expectations, no attachments, that means all the answers come to you because you've already posed the question in your soul, in your subconscious, and the answer is already waiting for you because you are unlimited and you are here on this planet to have fun and enjoy life. So go out there, spend some time living in the moment with no expectations, no attachments, become nothing, and watch the magic begin. Thank you, everyone. To you, I turn it back over to you.
Wow. Thank you, Michael. Definitely be in the moment. And the moment, make sure you get this book. I'll put all
I love that book. It's a great book.
It's an excellent book. It's an easy read, and it really does open your eyes. On that note, too, Michael does a Tuesday night call-in, question and answer. And Michael, I'll put all the contact information in the comments in Facebook, but can you share that number?
Yes. You want me to type in or just tell you?
Oh, just tell us.
Yeah. 515-604-9097. That's 515-604-9097. And there's an access code, 125446#, 125446#. And I'm really excited because the second Saturday of every month, we do a mass consciousness healing on this planet. Goodness knows we need healing on this planet. And it starts 9:55 Pacific Standard Time, or daylight time, I should say, 9:55 Pacific Time. And it goes to 11 a.m. Pacific Time. So 9:55 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, we start 5 minutes before, we chat a little bit, and we start around 10:03. And then if you tune in late, that's fine. But it is done in silence after 10:04, 10:05. And then I announce when it's over at 11. Really important that you try to be there on time and say, no, I won't try. Now I am and willing to be there on time. 9:55, remember 10:04, 10:05 in silence. Therefore, for some reason you join us late, stay with us because I need every one of you. More importantly, the true source needs every one of you. And even much more importantly, every soul needs to feel that unconditional love to change their thinking about this planet. Thank you to you for reminding me.
You're welcome. I'll make sure I put that number in there as well. It's the same number as the Tuesday night call in. And for anyone who wants to reach Michael, I'll have his contact information in there as well. I want to thank everybody for this Sunday afternoon, the fact that you popped in and watched this Facebook Live. Feel free to share it with your friends. It will be live on both of our Facebook pages. Right now, it's only on mine, but it will be over on Michael's in a couple of minutes as soon as we're done here. So thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, and make sure to focus on living in the minute, in the moment. You know, it takes it takes a little while to focus on that. But when you get really, really distracted, we do get sidetracked. And really, all we really have is where we are today. So on that note, I want to say thank you one more time for sharing some of your Sunday with us. And thank you, Michael, for your empowering words of wisdom. I'm really glad that we came together today. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Have a great week because you are unlimited.
Yes, we are. Bye-bye.